getting to be winter around here, so these Maxxis rock crawler tires are terrible tires for the snow. They are Maxxis Liberty ML3 radial tires, 30 by 10 by 14. That's what came on the Maverick XRC stock. I'm just going to break all these loose with a breaker bar. I have aftermarket System 3 wheels, beadlocks with aftermarket lug nuts. So you got to use an adapter. Adapter came with it, 13/16 socket. Just break them all loose. So these Maxxis tires came stock on this. And here in the Northeast, it rains and there isn't a whole lot of sunshine, so it's pretty much always muddy. And these tires are terrible once it gets past a little bit muddy. There's no traction, four-wheel drive on all the time to even go anywhere, slipping and sliding. So that's the only downfall about these tires. Other than that, the only other downfall, I guess there's two, is snow. Past a little bit of ice or maybe an inch of snow, you can't go anywhere. There's no traction. They don't bite. It's similar to going through mud. So other than deep mud or slippery conditions, snow, they are amazing tires. I got 1,000 miles on them. They still look like they're the day that they were brand new. Plenty of tread. I mean, we've ride rocks and rough areas. No punctures in any of the tires yet so far. They're still holding up good. So yeah, tires are all still holding up good. I've never really had any issues with them at all, so they're pretty tough. But like I said, they're terrible in the snow, terrible in the mud. What they are good at is anything hard packed, like hard packed trails, dirt, you know, even some loose gravel, obviously the street. They're amazing. You know, you have no vibration inside whatsoever with these tires. There's a lot of tire surface area that touches the ground, so you get maximum traction all the time. But if you want to do any kind of muddy conditions or anything at all, you're going to have to get something different. So I wish I would have known all this in the beginning, but I went the extreme and I got some ITP Cryptids, which you'll see me swap back over here in a minute. I bought them a couple months after I got it. I've owned this thing about a year, a little over a year. So I went through the first winter in it. And like I said, you can't go anywhere in these tires whatsoever, so I had to get something different. So I got Cryptids, because Cryptids come stock on the XMR version of this and a lot of other Can-Am vehicles. So I kind of wanted to stick with like stock type tires, but get better traction in the mud and definitely the snow. So I heard a lot of good things about Cryptids, went with the Cryptids. And just like these Maxxis Liberties, there's a lot of complaints about the Cryptids and a lot of good things too. So once I can talk here in a minute, I'll talk a little bit more about the tires. Need to find a block of wood real quick. Okay, got a shim back under there, so it should be good to jack it up. Not enough yet. All right, let's try this one last time. Hey, and we're good to go now. So other than the fact that the Maxxis Liberty tires are really, really good at dry conditions, hard pack conditions, road, street, gravel, things like that, the Cryptids are really good at mud, snow, deep mud, slippery conditions. The biggest difference here is, you know, wheels pretty much going to be the same weight as the wheels. So here's the Maxxis Liberty. I can pretty much normally pick that baby up. Here is the ITP Cryptid. Not exaggerating. I mean, it's got to be literally double the amount of weight as that tire. And they're both exactly 30, 10, 14 tires. So all that transfers into driving. If you have that much more weight that you're spinning, that much more stress on the axles, that much more stress on the wheel bearings, everything. And it also significantly cuts down on power due to that weight. So you've got to figure you're spinning literally double the amount of weight as you were before. So takeoff's going to be slower, acceleration, top speed, the whole deal. So you just plan on, it's like, the analogy I gave was if you had steel-toed work boots on and you were trying to run in work boots, and then you took them off and had running shoes on. That'd be kind of the difference. Like these would obviously be the heavy steel-toed work boots, and those would be the tennis shoes. So really awesome tires in both of them. However, if I was able to test the Cryptids out and then like back and forth like I have been, I'm not sure that I would buy either tire. Because, you know, you have those and almost everywhere where we ride, it's muddy. So almost always am I hindered in some kind of way. And then I put these on, and although that they're great in mud and they're great in snow and slippery conditions, you have this much less tire here. You don't think about it, but although it looks big and beefy and meaty, you have this much less tire that touches the ground as versus that. So much less surface area of the tire touches the ground, you don't get as good a traction on that hard packed dirt, gravel, woods trails, the road. So you lose a lot of that nice riding that you do with those tires. And the other negative thing about these, besides the weight, is all this big knobby part of the tire that touches the ground. Holy cow, do you feel that inside? Like, I mean, the windshield will actually vibrate back and forth at slow speeds. So you gotta figure, like, that's gotta be terrible on the machine as well, so. Just gonna bap them on real quick, and then I got a torque wrench. I'm gonna torque them all down here in a minute, so. Move on to the next one. So that's kind of my advice to anybody that would be interested in either one of these tires and how they drive. Totally different, and both at complete opposite ends of the tire spectrum. So like if you just rock crawl, or you just you know, like rode hard packed dirt and never came into contact with mud whatsoever, or snow or anything, I would say that the Maxxis Liberty tires would be amazing. And if your sole goal was to mud bog or just ride in deep snow, the ITP Cryptids are pretty amazing for that. But like I said, if I was able to test both tires out in the beginning, I probably would not want either tire. And the reason why is because you're always wanting the other one. You're always wanting one's, you know, you're always missing something. So I could see why the carnivores and tires similar to the carnivores are so popular. Because the carnivores they're a whole lot lighter than these ITP Cryptids. They're kind of a mud tire, they're kind of a dirt trail tire, they're kind of a rock crawler tire. I would say they're a mix of all. And you have so much more contact that touches the ground than these. So I've never even rode on a carnivore before, but riding on those and riding on these, I would imagine that the carnivore would be right in the middle. So that would be my go-to tire, or at least something real similar to it. I wish that I was able to test any of that out, but you know, I already bought the Cryptids, and the Liberties came stock on this. So like I said, these Cryptids I bought brand new too. There's 1,100 miles on this machine, and I would say I probably split up the tires evenly. I got 500 miles on each. And you literally can't even tell, you know, there's still like the side tits on the side of the tires. So really good longevity. And these tires, like I said, is being so heavy, I've never got a puncture. I'm not sure that you could puncture the tire. It seems like they're so tough. As another pointer, these wheel locks have little slots inside. This one has 2, 4, 6 slots. Probably can't see that for these aftermarket wheel locks, but mine had a Gorilla logo on it. And if you just Google wheel lock key Gorilla on Amazon, you could buy, if you lost it and think like, oh man, I can't ever find one again. Like, you just count how many slots are on your wheel lock key, and that's it. You could order one on Amazon, have one in 2 days, and you're good to go. I would hope anybody watching this would understand the points to jack a vehicle up, but I usually pick points that are beefy on the frame. You know, if you can get a good chunk of the frame rail, or usually where the A-arms go up into the pockets there. Obviously not to bend any ears or anything, but that's always a super sturdy point of the vehicle. At least that's how I do it. Originally, when I bought this brand new, these rock crawler tires, that's what I call them, but the Maxxis Liberties came on those stock steel Can-Am wheels. You would think, buying the top tier Maverick Sport, that they would come with beadlocks, especially being the rock crawler edition with rock crawler tires. But it didn't. So in my adventure to buy new tires, I kind of wanted to just swap like I'm doing now. So I bought these System 3 beadlock wheels, which were ridiculously cheap, like, I don't know, 120 bucks a wheel or something, with the powder coated ring. SideBySidePlanet.com is where I got them from. Yeah, super nice. Obviously it just comes all, you could have bought them mounted or mount them yourself, but if you buy beadlocks, I don't really understand why you wouldn't be able to mount them yourself. So yeah. Anyway, so the beadlocks came on the snow tires, and the regular wheels were on the rock crawler tires that came with this, and none of that really made any sense. So when I got it all, I swapped it all out and put the new beadlock wheels on the stock tires. So they look pretty cool with the powder coated ring. And actually, the stock wheels, the width of the machine is 64 inches, but with these System 3 wheels, the smallest offset that they had actually brings the width out to 65 inches. So it's a little bit wider with the rock crawler tires on it, which is kind of cool. So yeah, SideBySidePlanet.com. Powder coated wheel, rings, beadlocks, tires, and all of it was like the cheapest that I found anywhere. They had coupons and all kinds of crap. Came with these Came with the lug nuts and the wheel lock key too. Yeah. Anybody ever have an oh shit moment or an idiot moment while you're working? If you remember, I broke all these lug nuts loose with the breaker bar. I jacked this up and I'm like, let me just wiggle this to see if anything's loose. And I wiggle it and I'm like, holy shit, wheel bearing's loose. So I start to look at it and then I'm like, you're an idiot. You already loosened the lug nuts. Imagine everybody has their own tools, whatever you want to use, but I always used an impact driver before this. So it's kind of like the drill driver version where you could put little Allen keyed tips in there. So I always used that Allen keyed tip, which transferred over to a 3/8 socket. And I always use that all the time, you know, till I bought this 3/8 impact that Rigid makes. Similar money, about 100 bucks, 80 bucks, I don't remember. But like, it is night and day difference. Like, you think that before you had power with that impact driver running sockets back and forth, you get this thing on there, I mean, it'll shear bolts off, it could take lug nuts off. I mean, it's badass. So highly recommend impact driver from Rigid. Home Depot sells them. Yeah, I just like them. I imagine there's better stuff out there. The Milwaukee stuff's probably better than this, but I've never had an issue with it and it works great. Okay, got all the Cryptids bolted on. I'm gonna go ahead and torque them down. I checked them. But it's 74 foot-pounds. Sorry, I was looking for the socket. 74 foot-pounds is what the wheel bolts are torqued to. The right side. Alright, wheels and tires are good to go. Go ahead and set the tire pressures here. I usually set them anywhere from like 8 to 15. I've set them as low as 8 or maybe even lower than that, and they've been perfectly fine. Never had one pop off a bead at all, so I'll do that here in a second. Let's see what they got in. Wow, that says it has 20 pounds of air in it. Holy cow. The front has 0. £20. Yeah, it says max pressure 18 pounds. That's the max you're supposed to have in it, is 18. Wow. We're gonna go with 8. Okay. That's all I really run. Running those Maxxis Liberties too is about 8 pounds. They seem to get great traction. Like I said, they last long. Obviously, during the winter last year, I wasn't quite as bright. What I was saying was, obviously, last year during the winter, I wasn't quite as bright as I am now because these had 20 pounds in them as well. The left front must have had a leak because it's got 0, so I'll have to keep an eye on it. But I'm going to set them all at 8. Surprised they even held air, really. They've been sitting for, I don't know, 7 months. So yeah, I'll bring it back here in the end and I'll compare both the tires. Alright, got all the tire pressure set, wheels torqued down, ITP Cryptids back on here. Guess we'll give a little close-up shots of it all. It really does look pretty sweet with the mud tires on it. I just wish they weren't so heavy. You can really see how much tread there actually is there, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot. Shot from the front. So yeah, I guess just to recap a little bit, if you're in the market for either one of these tires, ITP Cryptids, absolutely amazing in the mud and in the snow, slippery conditions. But other than that, they're super heavy. They're really, really hard to take on the road. You know, the windshield, like you can see here, that's literally like what the windshield does the entire time with those tires on there. So better be prepared for a lot of vibration, not much road riding, not much hard packed dirt. So that's one issue there. Then we get on to the Maxxis Liberties. Also, I really love these tires too. You can see, you know, for what these tires are, there's a significant amount of tread left on them as well. You can kind of get an idea of the tread pattern here. So again, awesome tire. Like, we went to Hatfield McCoy trails, and there's maybe, I don't know, 50 miles worth of road riding that you end up doing for a weekend there. And I would not want to have any other tire on the road other than those, or at least I definitely wouldn't want to have those on the road. You would want those on the road. But there was some muddy times, some mud bogs that we couldn't go anywhere because, you know, we had these tires on there. So I wish I had the Cryptids on there. But if you want to go fast, you know, you got to have a lighter tire. Cryptids, great, but we need something lighter. So that's up to you guys. If you want to choose either tire. If I had to choose between the two, I would choose the Maxxis Liberties just because the Cryptids are so heavy. But I would like to try something in between someday, maybe like a Carnivore, or maybe something by System 3. Again, those wheels are great too. Really nice center caps, nice beadlock rings, powder coated, comes with all those bolts. Now you can see the inside here too. So yeah, got the wheels and tires from Side by Side Planet, and that's about it. Stay tuned here for the next couple minutes. I'm going to take it for a rip and let the suspension settle. Maybe you can get an idea of the vibration off the camera.